What are your thoughts on therapy? Because we know you're not in therapy. And I'm just saying we know you're not in therapy because I haven't heard you talk about therapy, so we're just gonna make that assumption. Me
Oh,
as in me and our viewers and listeners. Yes, I'm speaking for us all right now, everyone.
well, I was gonna say, I feel like I've been kind of open about it, but maybe I haven't been. I don't know. But no, I am not in therapy. Um,
Do you feel like you need therapy? So,
hello,
we
May.
are in the month of May
Yes, we are. How in the world? I feel like 2022 is just flying by.
every year. The older we get, the quicker it goes.
That's true. And I heard it
I
gets
don't
worse
like
when
it.
you have kids.
I don't like it. Everything to look forward to, nothing. Blows right by. But yeah, no, we're in the month of May, so that is mental health and skin cancer awareness time now, right?
Yes, it is.
Which is kind of a lot to talk about possibly, but obviously we're not going to try to ramble on forever, but I think those are two pretty big things because of how popular skin cancer is.
Hmm.
And then especially in today's times with how mental health is so important to be mindful of, what state or condition your mental health is in and what you're doing to maintain it or to take care of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it really ties into what our podcast is about. So I think it's perfect timing and good topics to discuss and kind of, go back and forth with each other. So, which would you like to
Agreed.
start with? Skin cancer or mental health?
So I think skin cancer is a good start.
All
And
right.
I say that because if we recall, I did my genetic testing, which I am positive for that BRCA2 gene.
Hmm.
And uh, melanoma is actually one of the cancers
Oh,
that I have to screen for. So
interesting.
I found it all very interesting. It's not one of the high risk cancers like breast cancer and ovarian cancer
Yeah.
and even pancreatic. It's more towards the bottom of the list for being the most concerned about.
Hmm.
But one thing that I was told that I didn't even think about with skin cancer, melanoma, which there are two different kinds of skin cancers, which I'll talk about after. But with melanoma, they also say that other than, seeing a dermatologist like once a year,
Hmm.
you also want to make sure you stay on top of your eye care visits because
I
melanoma can also develop in the eye.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yes. So yeah, something I would have never thought about to be honest either. Um, but just kind of doing a little research on some skin cancer, I didn't realize there's melanoma skin cancer and non-melanoma skin cancer,
Hmm.
which is very interesting because usually it's just like melanoma and then another kind of skin cancer. That
Sorry
was
if you
so
hear them.
distracting.
Sorry, guys. Sirens in New York City are a little loud.
No, that's fine. That was so funny. That was just like, oh, what? Wait, okay.
Sometimes.
So yeah, so there's I took a few notes because I just am not capable of remembering everything
No,
that
of
I
course.
read.
Yeah.
So melanoma actually develops in the skin's melanocytes. So that is the cells that form pigment.
Mm, gotcha.
And then non-melanoma is it's cancer that forms in the layers that form the top layer of skin. So
Mm.
there's basal,
Oh,
squamous, or Merkel cells.
yep. You just sparked a memory in my head all.
I thought I would. I thought I would. So that's why I wanted to explain those two.
Hmm.
So with non-melanoma, cancer forms within those different surfaces. That within those different surfaces that create that top layer of skin.
Mm-hmm.
And then with melanoma, there's four types of melanoma, which
Jeez.
I did not jot down. But like I said, I didn't want to ramble on forever about this stuff.
But they
But
exist.
they exist, and it could be like different types of like like a mole or some type of like difference in pigment that seems to spread,
Hmm.
kind of. So things along those types of lines, but I don't have the scientific words for them, so I'm not going to go into detail.
That's fine.
But I did find a few interesting facts to share because skin cancer is so common. I want to say it's like the most common kind of cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it's one of those that we all can help to protect ourselves and work to prevent
Mhm.
on, just daily occasions like being out in the sun and making sure we're wearing sunscreen
Oh, yeah.
or, just making sure we're not out and exposing ourselves for too long. If
Mhm.
I know everyone doesn't like to use sunscreen, which is fine because there are other chemicals in it, but there are natural sunscreens as well that are safer to use.
Yeah.
But just making sure, we get into shade. Things like tanning can affect skin cancer,
Mhm.
things that we apply to our skin, environments we're in, just kind of typical for about any kind of cancer. The environment you're in can make a difference too. So those are things we just want to be on the lookout for.
Yeah. And so what I'm curious about, and I don't know if you looked this up or if you have like the answers on it. I know you said that you got your testing and you're positive for the BRCA2
BRCA
gene.
too.
But so you always hear, well, I mean, it's like common knowledge that people like me of a lighter skin shade, we have to wear a
Said it so proper. The
shut up.
lighter skin shade. Yes.
We have to wear a lot of sunscreen, right? Because we burn so quickly, like our skin's just kind of like not made for that kind of exposure to sun.
Mm,
And I know a lot of my friends who have a darker complexion, they don't necessarily wear sunscreen at all. Or
mhm,
if they do, they're just, obviously not as concerned about it because it's harder to burn. I know that doesn't necessarily mean that you still can't like attract all those rays.
mhm.
But I'm just curious if skin cancer is more um like
Like
dominant, I
prominent. Mhm,
guess, in
mhm.
people of lighter skin tones or darker.
So, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm actually going to see if I can pull it up right now, but I'm almost certain I had seen somewhere that African Americans, it said, have like a higher risk or something like that.
They do have a higher risk.
Hold on, I'm finding it because
Well, yeah, let's get the facts straight. But I'm curious, just because
let's get the facts straight.
just because it's more common in my kind of a culture or whatever you can say. And
Yeah,
I
no.
know, which I will probably get into this in a little bit, but like I know people that have had skin cancer. But I don't know, do you know anybody that's had skin cancer?
Not that I can think of. No.
No. Hmm.
Nope.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, tells you maybe something, but not a lot of something.
So it says actually skin cancer. So this is on skincancer.org. So I'm going to believe for them to be authentic with their information, and if they're not, that's just rude.
Yeah.
But it says that skin cancer represents 1 to 2% of all cancers in black people. So it's a small percentage of cancers within black people.
Hmm.
Um, it represents approximately 2 to 4% of all cancers in Asian people. So it's actually a higher risk in Asian people than black people.
Okay.
4 to 5% of all cancers in Hispanic people. So that's even higher.
Hmm.
Uh, Actually, the squamous cell,
Gotta love it.
um, squamous cell carcinoma is the most common skin cancer in black people.
Hmm. That's interesting.
So, um, it just says that it doesn't say anything for white people though, which is interesting.
Right?
But
I'm gonna go
what
out
it
on a whim though and just guess that it's probably a big one
huh,
of the biggest
huh,
percentages.
I wonder why. No. But it does say that black patients with melanoma have an estimated 5-year survival rate of 71% versus 93% for white patients.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
And this is squamous cell relating to skin cancer.
That one was talking about melanoma.
Oh, melanoma.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Well, there you have it.
there's some facts there. Like
Yeah.
I said, skincancer.org. If you don't believe me, go ahead and there and read it yourself because I didn't make this up.
Right. And regardless of whoever you are, make sure you guys are wearing sunscreen because
Oh, please. Yeah, cuz you already know like I don't know if you remember back in the day, I didn't even care to go to the beach. I'm like, if we're at a beach, can I just get like a little tent shelter thing that I can sit in?
I remember
Because
it.
yeah, I'm not trying to sit out in the sun.
Right.
But it's all because like I wasn't trying to get darker because I'll never forget this one summer as a kid,
Mm.
every summer I played outside. Like
Mhm.
that was just my life. I was outdoors. And I'll never forget this. One summer I came inside
Mhm.
and my mom and my grandma were like, "Damn, Amanda, you got black."
Oh god.
And they just made me feel so uncomfortable in my skin
Aw.
that at that point I was like, "Yep, there goes that." So
Really?
people,
Hmm.
things
That's
stick
unfortunate.
with people.
Yeah,
Things you
definitely.
say will stick. And just because I was a kid, they thought that it was more acceptable to say it to me than someone else, I guess. I don't know what
Yeah.
they probably, I'm sure they didn't even think anything of it, but they said that. It stuck with me. Ever since then, I was like, you know what? I'll sit in the shade. I don't really care to go to the beach. I
Aw.
don't want to get darker. Like, I just,
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah, because it was like, because how shocked they were, like, I'll never forget how shocked they were, and I was like, "Damn, like, is this a bad is it a bad thing?" I didn't really know what to think of it or,
Right. Especially not
you
that
know
young. Yeah.
right, so I was just like ever since then, I was like, "Well, fuck that. Guess I'm sitting in the shade." Like, "Oh, great, my fucking friends are gonna wanna go to the beach, and there's no shade at the beach.
Right.
No one has an umbrella." Yeah, so that,
Hmm.
started that, and I've always thought that if I use sunscreen, that would help me not get as dark. That was a misconception. But
It's so interesting though. It really is how like someone's words can truly just like change someone's behavior, and
yeah,
to draw it back into like that mindset and stuff. But at that age, you're a lot more impressionable and things are gonna, you're not gonna question things. You're gonna be like, okay, like this is truth, and you're just gonna
right.
act accordingly.
Right, yeah.
So
So,
it's
but I
interesting.
still use sunscreen to this day and not because so I don't get darker. I don't care what shade I turn now, but to protect my skin genuinely.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's important because now to kind of, roll into like my experiences with it. My dad, of course, has had skin cancer on more than one occasion.
mm,
And this is because, he's always outside. He's always like golfing and things. And trying to get that man to wear sunscreen, let me tell you, was just
oh, I
like
can only imagine.
not a thing, and, like, whenever you would try to, like, put on, like, his face or something, he would just, like, go ballistic. So, s sunscreen wasn't his thing, and he was
Yeah.
literally always outside doing activities, so it's not surprising that he had it.
Right.
Um,
Oh,
think I don't it's nothing to me, in my opinion, it's nothing related to the actual, like, real cancer that he had.
real, you
Um,
just over here just discrediting this cancer to be cancer, the
I
severe.
Yes, for the types that he had, this
Yeah.
wasn't really something because I wanna say he had it on his face. I don't remember if it was, like, his cheek or his nose or something, and then
Mm.
he had, a spot on his hand. Um, but basically, because it's so not severe, like you said. I'll
It
I'll
was so
keep putting it
minute
that way.
compared to the real severities that he did suffer.
Yeah, and he had the basal cell skin cancer, because when you
Okay.
said that, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what it is," because I heard that word, like, all the time, but they would
Mhm.
just, like, freeze the spot on your face, and then they would kind of just, like, scrape it off because it's
Yeah,
on that, like,
the top
top layer.
layer. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Um,
It's the top
so
layer of skin.
right, and so that's what I mean when I say that it's, not as severe because it's doesn't take much to be able to get rid of it. I mean, it can
Yeah.
keep popping up, and it can end up being a lot worse than, just something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but in all cases that I've seen, it's just been a simple, like, scrape and kind of, like, move on. Obviously, it's, like, a little painful and uncomfortable,
Well, yeah, right.
um, as, nobody wants their skin to, like, be scraped off of them, but
Right.
So he's definitely had it. I wanna say that my mom has had something similar too, just because,
She
again.
loves the sun and the beach. Oh my gosh.
She does, she definitely does, and this is, probably sorry, mom, but this is probably the most pale that I've ever seen her because she used to be so dark from just, like,
That's so
always
true though.
being in
She
the
was
sun.
always being in the sun, yeah.
Oh, she used to be so dark back then, but
Yep.
now she's, kind of, like, chilled off a little bit, so
Oh gosh.
it's
Oh
just
my
it's
goodness.
interesting to see, but yeah.
Well, folks be careful out there because like we said, you don't want to get sunburned. And actually one of the facts I found too is that getting sunburned 5 or more times doubles the risk for melanoma.
Mm.
So
Oh,
yeah, might want to calm down on the sunburns, people,
yeah.
because it's not good on the skin. It's not good for your risks. We don't need to be increasing risk. And 1 in 5 Americans develop skin cancer by the age of 70.
Jeez.
That's not a lot. I mean, that's not a little number. Sorry. I said that so backwards. That's not a lot. That's not a
No.
little.
And yeah, and it carries with you through age. I feel like stuff like that doesn't truly develop until you do get a little older.
No, it's
Um,
true.
but
I
it's
have a
interesting.
mole on my back that I've had since I was like born. Well, it's
Mhm,
called just like a birthmark or beauty mark.
mhm.
But I'd always be screened. Like every time I go to the doctor's office, they take out this little tape measure and measure it, make sure it's not growing and all this
Yeah,
stuff because they were being precautious about it. And it's just like, lady, I'm like 12,
right.
but
Yeah,
you
no.
just, you can't assume. So
No.
they were always on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, and especially with it being so common, like you just want to stay safe.
Right, and that actually made me think of something too. Aside from always, like, applying sunscreen and stuff, make sure you guys are always checking your bodies because
Mm-hmm.
birthmarks and things, they can just kind of, like, appear, and it
Yep.
doesn't mean that they're cancerous, but you do
Nope.
have to watch them and check for them because if they do change in, like, color or
Mm-hmm.
size, that's when you definitely wanna, be a little more concerned and go see a doctor about it and have them check it
For
out.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
being familiar with your bodies is super important.
For sure. Yeah. Because who's gonna know it better than ourselves?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Yeah.
That's all my facts though for skin cancer today. Thank you for tuning in. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I think that they were really good facts, so thank you for sharing all of them.
I got y'all. I got y'all. But
Mm,
I don't know. Like mental health, I like talking about to a degree. Like
mhm,
mental health makes me it, like I get excited talking about mental health, but not in like a I don't know the best way to put it, but like not in like a I have a degree and I'm going to throw scientific, philosophical, type of medical words at you. I just like talking about like being in a good space mentally.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, between the 2 of us, you would definitely be the mental health advocate.
Why? What makes
Just
you say that?
because, like you just said, that you really enjoy talking about it, and you just have that, like you have that vibe about you, and so between, like, the 2 of us, that would definitely be
Oh, well, thank you. I don't try. But I it's never really been a thing for me until my mom passed, mental health,
you. Mm,
because a part of it of having good mental health is to make sure I don't fall off the deep end because deep down I personally feel like that would disappoint my mom if
mhm.
I just fucking fell apart because she wasn't here.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's just like still a part of it is to keep her proud knowing that she's watching over me, but also too I just don't jive well with negative energy and dark places.
Mhm.
And I've been in dark places before and
Yeah,
it's
check
just so much.
episode 2. What was it? Mary Jane?
There's just so much emptiness, and I feel like I have a lot of optimism to
Mm,
share, and I have a lot of positivity to share with people, so it's just not a natural place for me to be in. So I've just been like high off of mental being healthy mentally, I guess you can call it, or trying
Yes.
to be, because don't think I'm perfect, people, because I'm not. I be having my
No.
days,
Yeah, nobody
but
is.
I don't know. It's just my thing. I like it. I like optimism
That's what I
and
mean, it's your
positive
vibe.
energy.
That's what I'm
The
trying to tell you.
vibes. Anyways, whatever. So just jump into the shit. What are we talking about, girl? What are we talking about? I'll just ramble for days and not make any fucking sense over
Mm.
here.
Who you tellin'? Oh, okay.
Over here,
Um,
like, give me my blanket. I don't know what's going on anymore. Talk. Just talk.
well, I mean, I think that it's definitely something that's important to talk about, obviously, if it has its own month. Um,
It doesn't have its own month. It shares it with skin cancer.
you know what I mean. It has an entire month where some people are gonna be dedicated to, focusing more upon mental health, and it's something that has gained so much traction over the years because when we were growing up and maybe we just didn't care or think about it, but it definitely just, like, wasn't a thing. It was more inappropriate to talk about, like, your feelings and what's bothering you
Oh my gosh.
than it is now to where we've gone a little over the deep end, in my opinion, of some people that just really, taking it to that next level, but we won't get into into that part of it. But, it's an important
I'm
thing.
lost. But that's fine.
I just think that some people just really kind of like,
Force it upon you.
yeah, yeah,
That's like with anything in today's times.
yeah. It's a different world these days.
Yeah, it's like peer pressure, but there's a lot of social media and to like
Right.
make you feel like the pressure's applied.
Mhm.
So no, I
Yeah,
get it.
it's true. So,
But I will say, and I know we're gonna debate on it, which is fine,
uh-oh.
but therapy is a gem.
Mhm.
And I think that I know that I'm not going to be the person to say that I think therapy should be free and everyone should have access to therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, there should be access to therapy for all.
Mhm.
I don't think that it should always be free.
Right.
And actually, I literally just talked with one of my friends who also has a therapist. And I'm over here like, wait, y'all doing what in therapy? Like, you got this going on and that going on. I'm over here like, yo, do I need a new therapist? Is my therapist challenging me enough?
No.
I'm like, oh shit, what am I doing? Like I just started reevaluating myself in my therapy sessions, and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to upgrade my therapist? Like, are we doing
No.
enough? And I'm like, but I feel pretty satisfied with what I'm
Gonna
receiving,
say, is it
so
working for you? That's the important part.
I don't really know what I'm in therapy for anymore, other than to vent. So,
I mean, hey, sometimes that's what people need.
but that's what I said to my friend too, because I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like air quotes people, I need help in specific areas.
Right.
Whereas I feel like what I need the most right now is to be able to vent and it not necessarily have to be to, you as one of my girlfriends or my
Mhm.
family or, people that personally know me. It's just being able to get shit off my chest and people that I'm close to be offended by something I say because they feel like it's attacking them personally when it has nothing to do with them. It's just me making a statement,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? So
Totally.
that's stuff like that. That's why I say therapy is good. But, you got a therapist like mine who just kinda just talks to you and allows you to vent, and it's just like
Mhm.
chit chat and get it off your chest, or you could have a therapist who's more challenging, like my friend's therapist, and, like, fucking gives you homework and
Mhm.
gives you, like, strategic skills on how to think in a different way, and oh gosh, like, it sounds pretty cool, but I don't know if I have the energy
Mhm.
for it, so
Too
I think I'm good
much.
where I'm at.
Well, that's good. I mean, do they really ask you? So, like, how do you feel about that, Amanda?
And no, but I get the, "How you been? How are things?" And it's like, bleh, diarrhea at the mouth. Let me just tell you my whole life that has happened in the past 3 weeks.
Gotcha. I definitely gotta give a shout out to those mental health counselors and social workers
Ooh,
because
child, they take on a lot.
oh, yeah, definitely. I get
Hey,
kind of a taste of it in my job, and I'm not, like, you know, a
I was just about to say
professional
that.
by any means, and it's a lot. So,
Girl, I was just about to say that.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, my people that
Uh-oh.
are tuning into us, your girl has moved on to a different chapter when it comes to her job, as I said I would.
Woo.
So, kudos over here because if y'all been following us from the beginning, you know this is something that I've been working on and I have achieved it. And in my last role, because I no longer work that,
Oh god.
I was partially a therapist too, so I can feel you.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. Just they don't get the respect that I think they really deserve.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts on therapy? Because we know you're not in therapy. And I'm just saying we know you're not in therapy because I haven't heard you talk about therapy, so we're just gonna make that assumption. Me
Oh.
as in me and our viewers and listeners. Yes, I'm speaking for us all right now, everyone.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like I've been kind of open about it, but maybe I haven't been. I don't know. But no, I am not in therapy. Um,
Do you feel like you need therapy?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe everybody does. I don't really
I feel like
know.
you don't.
I think I've mentioned this before. There was a point in time where I was like so close to actually like going through with it. I had emailed, so at my job, we have an employee assistance program to
Yep,
where you kind of get like free counseling and stuff. And
we have that too. Yeah.
okay,
Good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, they have so many like amazing resources. And I don't remember exactly like at what point in time it was, but I was just feeling like really low. And I was like kind of like on a breaking point to where
Mm,
I emailed out to the EAP people, specifically for bereavement counseling. But I didn't actually end up going through with it. I think I just, like, sent them out, like, "How does this work?" Like, what are, like, the hours, like, those kinds of things and whatever.
yeah.
But once they, like, responded back to me, I never really, like, did anything else with it. Um, but something that you might not know is that I did actually go to therapy once in my life,
Oh.
but it wasn't for me. I mean, I guess maybe in, like, a weird way it was, but my mom and my
Hmm.
sister would always go to therapy together, and I was, like, home once, so they asked me to go with them, and I went into their session. I just kinda, like, sat there on the couch. I didn't really provide, any
The
input or whatever because
cliche
it was
couch.
yeah. So it was really just, like, between, like, the 2 of them, and I was just kind of, like, there, and she, was nice enough to let me in because like, I'm family and stuff, but I mean, it was definitely interesting, but I don't know if it's really for me because I keep so much, like, inside, and I'm not
Mm,
really one to talk in general, one. Like, I'm very quiet unless you, like, truly know me, then, like, I get a little wild, but for the most part,
right.
I am a very quiet person.
Mm,
And so I just feel really weird about, like, going to, like, a stranger and just, like, venting to them about things when, like, I try really hard to just kinda, like, process it in my own head, and just be, like
overwhelming yourself? Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I mean, maybe. Jerk. But no, I mean, I'm not against therapy. I'm totally
Mhm.
for it for, people who feel like they need it. I know that I have, a few like employees and stuff that utilize it. And, obviously I just said that my mom and my sister had utilized it.
Yeah.
Um, you, I think might be my only like close friend I know that does therapy, but that doesn't mean that other people don't. I just don't know about it.
Yeah. Some people might be
Um,
discreet about it, which I don't know why people want to feel or allow themselves, I should say, to feel ashamed.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, but it's also really personal and private too. So,
Yeah.
that could be a thing. But I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like rambling at this point, but I don't have anything against it. It's just not something that I've been interested, I guess, partaking in.
Yep.
But that's not to say that therapy is the only way to deal with your mental health. There are plenty other ways to do so. For instance, I play a lot of video games. um, you can go, for walks to like clear your head or just do things that
Yes.
like you truly
Meditate.
enjoy or that.
I love
Something
meditation.
that I also don't do, but it is something for people out there.
Yes. Well, I mean, I feel you because I don't play video games as much I used to, but I also was working what felt like all day and night sometimes, so there was really no time. So,
Right.
that might change and be able to be a little comeback in my life, but
Maybe.
um definitely I enjoyed the walking, and I felt like that's a really good therapy because you're getting fresh
Mhm.
air,
Yes.
and usually when you're walking, you're not walking in your phone and being distracted by other stuff. You're able to literally just, like you
Mhm.
said, process your thoughts and just kind of go about your day and go
Right.
about your walk and handle it that way.
And something that I've kind of, like, learned both from experience and, like, hearing this too is that walking is so important because if you're in that funk and you're really just having, like, that mental, like, breakdown phase of the day or whatever, getting up and moving is literally, like, sometimes the most important thing that you can do for yourself, no matter how bad you just wanna, like, I don't know,
Curl up in a
swallow your
ball
pillow.
and
Yeah,
yes.
like, just the act of, like, picking yourself up and moving can totally
Mhm.
be the difference in how you're feeling, so I think walking and stuff is just, like,
Yeah.
amazing when it comes
And it's
to
beneficial in general too for your
e
health physically.
exactly.
So,
Mhm.
why wouldn't it help you mentally?
Right.
No, I
So
totally agree.
yeah. Whatever it is that you find that helps you, like,
Mhm.
mentally because we go through so many stresses, like, on a
Mhm.
daily basis from something small to something really big, like us losing, a parent. It's just life. You're gonna go through things, and you have to find those outlets to help you get through it
Mhm.
in a healthy way because there's obviously people who turn to other methods to deal that might not be so healthy. So,
Right. You know what's a good challenge for people to do for
mm,
their mental health is to spend their time with a child
mm,
and what a child does during their activities.
that's true.
Because you think about things like coloring for one.
Mhm,
I personally have adult coloring books because I enjoy coloring. I've always enjoyed art, so that's just been something for me.
mhm,
Um, but when you look at what children do, so they do coloring, they build blocks, Legos, they use their imagination.
yeah,
They're not focusing on the bad because with children, they're depending on what the bad is, it's much more temporary for them
mhm,
and then they kind of just move on, which I get it. Us as adults, it's not as simple, but being able to take a little break from our day and to engage in simple activities with kids or simple activities that kids typically engage in, even doing a puzzle.
mhm,
You ain't got no time to be all like deep down in a hole while you're doing a puzzle because you're over here trying to figure out this daggone puzzle.
right.
And I've always enjoyed a puzzle too. Maybe I'm just a little bit. I enjoyed the simple things sometimes, but maybe that contributes to the state of mind that I have and
Could be.
the energy that I typically carry.
Mhm.
Crossword puzzles, word searches,
I love
just
word
any kind of
searches.
puzzles. Oh my
You
gosh, me
give me a
too.
good word search.
Oh, you
I'm
give me
in
a
there.
book. You remember you could go to the dollar store and just get a book of word searches and just
Yes.
go ahead and tear up through that book? Yeah.
Yeah, I still
Like,
have one. I always do it on an airplane.
yeah, I'm not as good as that, but I love playing I even play like Spider Solitaire or
Mm.
Free Cell on my phone.
Uh-huh.
I used to be like that Candy Crush person. Oof. But I finally given that up even though I have the app still. I'm going to delete that today now that I talk about it cuz I really don't use it.
It's an addiction.
But it's really one of those like start my day with my mind right or end my day with my mind right
Right.
and I play a card game or do something that kind of challenges the brain a little bit because
Mhm.
it I don't know if it actually helps to prevent um anything, but for me, being able to do like word puzzles or things that challenge my brain, it kind of helps me pull it back together and not focus on, whatever's trying to distract my mind. The
Yeah, of
mind is a
course.
powerful thing
It
and we got to
is.
take care of it.
Mhm.
Got to
It
take care
really
of it.
is. It's important, And it's hard too sometimes because I feel like your mind literally just like wanders from like point
Mhm.
A to point Z, and you're like, how did I even start thinking about this?
Yes. Every time.
So it is. It's important to really understand what you're thinking, and whenever you do have that like negative thought or something come across, change it because you
Exactly.
have the power to do so. But the negativity can be so powerful sometimes,
It can be
and
if we
you
allow it to be.
exactly. So you really just kind of have to just pull through and really like be like, okay, this is not, what I want to think. And maybe if I
Mhm.
can like change it to be a little more positive, it can even help my mood. So
Right. Agreed.
super important.
Agreed. Ooh, girl, dropping gems and fires around here. Ooh, this episode felt good, girl. One's feeling good.
Good shit. May's gonna be a good month.
Hell yeah, and it gets warmer outside. Like,
Oh, it's
how is
gonna
this
be.
not going to be a good month?
I know, girl. It has been this weather. I just can't. It's like warm one day, and then it's like freezing, and then it's like
Global.
freezing in the morning, and then you're like sweating in the afternoon. You're just
Right.
like,
Oh,
oh.
global warming. Winter won't be winter anymore. And bitch, it still feels like it's winter. So,
I don't remember being this
yeah.
cold in April or the
Nope.
beginning of May. It's just like
No.
crazy.
Even March was like a bit bricky
Yeah,
a few
definitely.
times. So,
Mhm.
which I get March is the end of winter, but god damn.
Yeah, I don't
Spring
know.
usually starts within like at least like the last week of March. So,
Mm, yeah.
everything everything's off. I guess that's the global warming then. Whatever. Whatever. I'm no meteorologist. They don't even know what the hell's going on either. So, but
You
sorry,
stupid.
meteorologist, if you're listening. Nothing against you. I just don't like the weather.
Mm, it's complicated.
So, yeah, girl, you got anything to wrap up this beautiful episode talking about some
Mm.
mental health and skin cancer awareness? Anything that you want to recap?
Um, I would just say make sure you guys check into your places of employment, seeing if they have any resources that are available to you. Like me and Amanda have access to EAP. I'm sure that your jobs have something similar. And always make sure you guys get, checked out and get screened because you never know what can happen. And it's always better to stay on top of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, apply that sunscreen to be as preventative as possible.
And also, don't forget to go to the eye doctor if you are able to be
Oh, yeah.
provided with that care.
Right.
Get them eyes checked because melanoma can pop up about anywhere on your body.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you, my dear, for spending this time with me while we talk to our peeps.
Of
It's always
course.
a pleasure. And we thank you all for always tuning in.
We sure
And I
do.
look forward, and I know Cassie does too, to chatting with y'all next time.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.